She is a creative coach and a writer. She's the founder of Typewriter Tarot. She's got some presents for you on your seats, so hopefully everyone got that. If you didn't, she's got more up at the front. But her mission is to help people claim their creative life fully, and to create more passion, freedom, and pleasure in the world. Her writing has been featured in tons of different magazines. She's written about Texas history. She's written about social care. But her passion is writing and the creative world. So we're very proud to introduce to you, if you have not met her yet, Cecily Saylor, to talk on the intersection of Kismet and creativity. Welcome up to the stage, Cecily.
Wonderful to be here with you. I've already had multiple Kismet moments. I'm supposed to have coffee with Becky after this. I didn't even know about Democracy. I didn't even know she was going to be here. I ran into Ami, who I've been hoping to run into for a long time, and here he is. The messages on your seats, I call these mystic messages. Your envelope has a tarot card inside and a poem. And they look like this. You're welcome to open them now if you would like. If you are afraid of tarot and you want to hear this talk before you open the envelope, I understand. You can also pass this on to a friend. You can swap with the empty seat next to you. But the poem inside should help you interpret the card that you see. And if you want to talk about it with me later, I can help you understand more. So this is a message, a gift from me and the universe to you on this day, and I hope there's something in it that speaks to your soul. So I'm talking today about Kismet, as you know, and Kismet means destiny or fate, that something was meant to be. It's a word that has Turkish origins and Arabic origins as well. And back in the 1800s, the more ancient form of the word meant God has willed it. So go little human, be this, do that, fulfill your destiny, like it or not. But when we say Kismet today, I feel like we use it a little more lightly. Maybe we bump into someone we know at the grocery store. We haven't thought about them in a long time, but just yesterday they came into our brains randomly and very specifically, and here they are now in real life standing in front of us, and we give them a hug. Oh, it's Kismet, and we kind of go on about our life. My dad likes to use the word cosmic, and I really like that word for the same kind of phenomenon. He would use it if the moon was out and beautiful and full, or if things lined up in just the right way at the right moment. Jumping into my creative journey, this is the book that made me want to become a writer, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I read it when I was probably in 4th grade. I felt very seen by this book because I was also an only child, kind of a lonely kid, mystified by the adults around me. I also really, I skipped a slide. Okay. All right. I missed my, I also really loved Hershey's chocolate bars, which were supposed to be pictured next. And so I loved this concept that, if you picked the right chocolate bar at the right moment, your whole life could change. And so this book took me to a place where transformation seemed possible and where magical things could happen. And this was the book that made me want to become a writer. As I said, I wanted the ability to give someone that same kind of experience, to take them into some place that was magical, to show them that something else was possible, and to help them feel like they weren't the only one on whatever weird little island they felt stuck on. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for me was cosmic. And as I got a little older, I started typing terrible ripoffs of the books I was reading, such as this one, on the first computer we had, an old Apple. And I also, as a teenager, of course, wrote some angsty poetry. I played cello for a little bit in middle school. I took dance, but underneath all of that, I really wanted to be a writer. I left Houston, where I grew up, and I came here to Austin to go to UT. They didn't have a creative writing major as far as I could find, and I started working at the Daily Texan and writing constantly, getting published all the time, but still I wanted to be a writer of another stripe. And I started applying to MFA programs. Almost all of them rejected me. 2 of them put me on a waiting list. 1 of them let me in, and it was the University of Houston, which was the city I grew up in and the city I swore I would never live in again. So that was cosmic. In my MFA program, I mostly felt out of my league. I had been on the wait list, obviously. All these other schools had rejected me. A lot of my peers had been studying literature while I was studying journalism. While I worked at a TV station, Spectrum, which is now Spectrum News, right out of college. So I got into these writing workshops where everyone knew a lot of literary language that I had not yet learned. And I just kind of felt like I didn't belong. And students and teachers would say my writing was good, but still I struggled to finish the stories that I started. This was me. I meant to show you this card as I was working at the Daily Texan and typing on the old Apple, typing up stories. This is me practicing my craft. And here's me thinking, what was me? I can't finish a story. I can't shape them the way that I want to. I felt disappointed in myself a lot. I never submitted my work to literary journals. I never volunteered to read my fiction at the student readings where other people would just very confidently get up and share their work and embody the writer that they wanted to become. So I graduated from my program with a thin collection of short stories, and I watched my peers continue to publish their pieces, get book deals, get teaching jobs. And for me, I didn't really know what to do next. And I'd never lived outside of Texas. And so I decided to spend a year teaching in Korea, teaching English. And after that, I came back to Austin and I started working for literary nonprofits. I was running creative writing programs in schools and community spaces. And these programs offered children and adults a writing experience that I wish I'd had when I was younger, and also one that I wish I'd had when I was grown up. And in these spaces, there wasn't a lot of lofty literary vocabulary. There was just a lot of play and curiosity and fun and creativity for its own sake. And that's how I wished writing felt for me. I continued watching my peers from graduate school publish more books, get teaching jobs, become the kinds of writers that I thought I wanted to be. And this is me kind of feeling like a loser, doing a lot of comparison thinking, which is never healthy or good. And I didn't know what was missing in me that I couldn't do the things that they were doing. Another reason that being here today feels really special for me is that I'm just a couple days away from celebrating 6 years since I quit drinking. And thank you. It saved me thousands of dollars at this point and lots of hangovers and heartache. And so that was also a time, leading up to the time that I got sober, the universe was giving me a lot of big signs. There's a whole story I could tell you about that, but that's not why I'm here today. All to say that I'm really glad I was listening to the signs that came to me, that I listened when I did. And with each year that passes, since I quit, I feel like the universe kind of gives me another invitation to expand or do something new, to expand my comfort zone, to try something different. And talking to you today after a pandemic 2 years long, where I haven't spoken in front of a live audience, much less for 20 minutes, feels like this was the challenge and the blessing that I was given. But that first year after I quit drinking, the gift that came was tarot. And I had actually had a tarot deck for 10 years, but I kept it in a box in my closet. I never really looked at it or opened it. because I thought you either like had to be raised by witches or you had to be psychic if you wanted to use a tarot deck. And so even though I was interested, it just stayed in its box until my boyfriend at the time moved in, and I had a small house, and we had to go through this like sorting and purging process. And he had a tarot deck that was zombie themed that he didn't really use. And I was like, I'm gonna pass this on to my stepsister. And so when I did that, we went ahead and did a reading for her. We used the little guidebook. There was a spread in it. She was going through some tough times, and the cards that came up just like blew me away. I knew her really well. I knew her situation well, and the cards seemed to know the situation also incredibly well, even though they were just pieces of paper. After that reading, I came to see tarot like a phone line to the universe, a phone you could pick up, ask questions, get some answers, and also a phone line to your subconscious. Here in the tarot, there were 78 archetypes that represented to us different facets of what it means to be human, and here was a language that was also meant for storytelling. So when the cards come up, whatever combination, however many of them, our natural inclination as humans is to look for a story. And I think tarot wants to be in a storytelling relationship with us. The stories that come up always sound familiar in some way. They feel connected to our present, but they also point to a future that probably connects to one you already really dream of, but you don't take quite seriously enough. So realizing that the universe could speak to us through cards, through cosmic timing, through symbols and messages, I thought, well, if it's trying to talk to us, maybe it's also trying to listen. So after I quit drinking, my cynical, kind of hopeless, 9 of Swords self really started to believe in transformation, which is something that I only thought was available to other people for pretty much all my life. And once I experienced that transformation in a visceral way, I really wanted to like let people know, like, it can happen for you too. And I also felt I owed it to the universe, which had given me those signs in the first place, to not keep this a secret. And so I thought about, should I become a therapist so I can help people? Should I like work in a rehab facility? How can I like be part of this continuum? And the universe instead gave me tarot, which is a much more affordable approach than going back to school, and very portable and also magical. So this became a way for me, a tool for me to pass on stories to people, to connect with people, and to help them pursue or imagine the changes that they wanted to see in their lives. So after that reading with my sister, the idea for a typewriter tarot came to me. Thank you, universe. And it came to me before I was even fully aware what to do with it. And it kind of became a side hustle for me for several years and continued to grow alongside me. And I think it's kind of funny and cosmic that it took me trying to get rid of a tarot deck to actually invite tarot finally into my life. What started with tarot continued to unfold. And as I said, if the universe could speak and it could listen, then, what questions did I want to ask? What wishes did I want to declare? What else did I want to know? So I opened myself up to the cosmic conversation. This is the Fool, or a representation of the Fool in the tarot. And so as part of that cosmic conversation, like anytime I encounter an unlikely animal, I get excited, I look it up in books, I Google it to see what kind of like meaning we've assigned it collectively as humans. Just yesterday, I was walking my dogs, and we were in the park, and I was like having this anxious thought, like, dude, you have to talk for 20 minutes in front of like dozens of people in real life. And right then, my boyfriend said, hey, look at this. And he pointed at a butterfly that had landed on the path. There were like 2 dogs walking plus 2 humans, and here was this butterfly that stopped and sat for like 5, 6, 7 seconds, and suddenly I was calm again. The card I pulled yesterday when I was working, kind of finishing this talk, was the King of Pentacles, which is a card of accomplishment and steady, substantial movement towards achievement. And so, whether I deserved this card or not, it also made me feel less afraid. I also look for signs in numbers, and 22 is my magic number. 222 is even better. 222 is the time that I was born, but it's also, my parents were married on the 22nd of this month, many years ago. That marriage did not last, but it got me here. I also found out that both of my great-grandparents, two of my great-grandparents had birthdays on the 22nd as well. And this is a number I just look for all around me. And once I started, conversing with the universe, I began to look for it more and more. I see it on clocks throughout the day. I see it on buses. I see it on road signs. It's everywhere. Sometimes I see it all the time, sometimes just here and there. But it's when I feel it kind of escalating, when I see it more and more, I feel like the universe is telling me that I'm onto something, like things are going according to the plan and there's less need to worry. When I started kind of doing this practice and talking about it a little bit, someone close to me posited that it was just a frequency illusion. So as in, like, the more you look for something, the more you find it, and therefore the frequency that you perceive increasing is just an illusion, which I thought was a really lame thing to say. And, it sounds like you can say it kind of like in a self-righteous way. Oh, that's a frequency illusion, like it's science. And I was like, well, no one's following me around, like tracking how many 22s are in my range of like visibility before I was looking, and the only person tracking it after is me in a very unscientific fashion. And, if I'm letting the universe know that I'm interested in signs, and if I believe the universe is listening, then wouldn't the universe be more inclined to talk to me if it knows I want to hear what it has to say? So to me, the frequency is not an illusion, the increase, it's actually a response. And though it troubled me for so long that I couldn't write a book, that I hadn't written a book, that I hadn't published my fiction, now I am working on a comic book concept. I don't even know a lot about comic books. This comic book is about magic. I'm working on it with my boyfriend, whose arrival in my life also felt like a cosmic beacon in the wilds of existence. The day after our first date, which was the best first date of my life, I was let go from a job that I hated, but was too afraid to walk away from, because I'm a Capricorn and I really like a steady paycheck. And another person might have connected those two events as some kind of curse. But first of all, the first date was so good that there was like no way I was gonna think that. And being unemployed also allowed me to pursue the thing that I had really desired to do for a long time and was too afraid to try. And that was run my own business and take typewriter tarot full time. That first date, which I actually didn't know was even a first date when I was going into it, took place on, this is me running my own business. Our first date took place on November 10th, which if you take out that dash and you just get rid of the 0, that's 111, which is half of 222. Guys, kismet. Sometimes you have to work for it, but it's there. I also have the same birthday as my boyfriend's daughter, like many years apart, which kind of creeps him out, but sometimes kismet is just kooky like that. And I'm not saying that you should perceive every number in the universe as the key to making all your big decisions, but I do invite you to have fun with it and look for the kind of language that works for you. Maybe it's animals, maybe it's numbers, maybe it's dreams, maybe it's tarot, maybe it's bibliomancy, like opening a book to a random page, using your magic number and seeing what it has to say. After I quit drinking, my creativity came flooding back to me. So did my hope, my joy, my sense of self, and my desire. And Typewriter Tarot became a vessel for me for that creativity. And that creativity lives and thrives in my business. It enters every conversation I share with someone over tarot cards. It's there in every coaching session I host with my clients, where we combine our creativity and our curiosity, and we look inward to try and find the metaphors and symbols that feel most powerful to us as creators. I also help my clients look outward, but beyond like all the noise, all the politics, all the economy, all the marketplace questions, all the programming society gives us. What's out there beyond that, waiting in the universe to connect with us? I also remind my clients that creativity is an energy that is coursing through us, and it doesn't belong purely to us or to our ego. It's part of the creative power of the universe as a whole. It's shared with us, it's on loan, and it pours through us like water, like light or wind, and we mold it according to our lived experience and the skills that we've developed, whether we're writers, musicians, artists, dancers. And then we give that gift back, we pass it on. But now we've magnified it, we've personalized it, we've made it into something material, and releasing it into the world gives other people permission to do the very same thing. So we start to create this cosmic domino effect where all of these messages we're sending out fall into the hands of people at the perfect time, giving them the message they needed to hear at that moment. I still have not fulfilled my dreams that my fourth grade self held for me to be a writer with books on shelves across the world, but I've come to realize that sometimes the dream comes to us so that we'll step further and further to it, closer to it in the right direction. And it's the dreams that we have that keep us moving closer to a purpose or a destiny that's always coming into focus. I personally need people like you all to be out there making books and art and music that moves me and speaks to me and transports me to alternative futures, art that makes me feel seen and that helps me see others in ways I haven't thought to look yet. So now I help people make that art and to make it with more excitement and less anguish and less conflict over what we're supposed to make, and feel more connection to what we want to make, what we need to make for ourselves and for the world. If it weren't for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all the signs that came after, I don't know where I'd be right now. And there's probably an alternative Cecily in another universe or dimension living out a different kind of reality. And I don't know if that's true, but I think it's just fun to think about. I also believe I was led here today for reasons that will become clearer to me later. Maybe I'm meant to know some of you for the rest of my life. Maybe we are meant to have a conversation about creativity, you, me, and the universe. And maybe for you, there's something in the tarot card you're holding, in the poem that came with it, or something about the image stamped on the outside, or something about butterflies or magic numbers that you'll take away from this encounter today. I think it's pretty cosmic that we're all here together right now, and I hope you'll keep looking for the kismet that's showing up in your life. I want to leave you with a quote from a book called A Spirituality of Transfiguration by John O'Donohue, and it goes like this. Your soul knows the geography of your destiny. Your soul alone has a map of your future. Therefore, you can trust this indirect, oblique side of yourself. If you do, it will take you where you need to go. But more important, it will teach you a kindness of rhythm in your journey. There are no general principles for this art of being, yet the signature of this unique journey is inscribed deeply in each soul. If you attend to yourself and seek to come into your presence, you will find exactly the right rhythm for your own life. The senses are generous pathways that can bring you home. thank y'all for being here with me today. It's really important.